Do all high schoolers think the same? 215. Damn, man, we're like the same weight, AT. I'm gonna say no. Not all high schoolers think the same because you know why? There's so many fucking hormones going on with their brain. You know, what I mean, there's acne, there's fucking puberty, and all that stuff. You know, like I remember in high school, like you just catch random boners. You just catch random boners, and like you would have to wear like you would have to put your backpack in front of your crotch, like because you have to walk to class, and like if you get up, everyone's gonna see your boner, and like it was a hard time. You know, high school was a struggle. You know what I mean? And then your voice starts cracking up, right? Like your voice starts like you just be talking regularly, and your voice just crack like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" You know what I mean? Like, like you know what I mean? Like that's that puberty. You was an awkward teenager. Elaborate. Give me.
Kid, I'm like,
Okay,
wow,
let's see
what job
what's
is he
going
gonna
on.
have? He knows more about
Elaborate.
scrolling to the next video than like anything that will help you get a job.
Oh wait. What kind of fucking lunch did you guys have in high school? Did you guys have lunch in recess? Did you guys have food? Like they serve food at recess? And did they serve breakfast? And like all that stuff. They serve breakfast if you go to school early, you can eat breakfast. Then on recess you can eat wiki. I don't know what the fuck's a wiki. Wiki, and then there's lunch. There's two lunches. We had two lunches, lunch A, lunch B, because I think our high school was kind of big. Oh, yeah, we see the person have a crush on you, random boner. Only in elementary. High school was only lunch food. What? Do you guys remember the square pizzas? Chocolate milk or white milk?
High schoolers are kids. 3, 2,
Yes.
1.
Oh wait. Let me guess. There's gonna be this one guy that's gonna be like, "Oh no, I'm so mature." Wait, let's hear him out. Both milks.
I feel like to say high schoolers in general are kids is almost like defeating the people who are in the minority. Like for people like me who have grown up more just mature for my age and I guess fitting more an adult mindset, I feel like I can't say for myself that I'm a kid because I definitely make adult decisions.
Okay, never mind. He got it. You don't have to prove me wrong, man. Shit.
Time and time again.
You right?
There are people
You
who still
right?
have the mindset of kids, but I can't say high schoolers in general are kids.
I feel like with high school, it's such a broad statement to say high schoolers because there's a giant difference between a freshman and a senior.
Let me guess. That guy been through it. That kid over there has been through it.
Like it is, that's why like when they try to date each other, it's like, why is that 18-year-old trying to date the 14-year-old? Like it just doesn't make sense. I feel like it would
Wait,
be
hold on.
giant.
Of kids.
Hold on,
but I
what?
can't say high
What'd you
schoolers
say?
in general are kids.
I feel like with high school, it's such a broad statement to say high schoolers because there's a giant difference between a freshman and a senior. Like it is, that's why like when they try to date each other, it's like, why is that 18-year-old trying to date the 14-year-old? Like it just doesn't make sense. I feel like it would be naive to ignore the fact that like, especially anyone who's a senior, they're about to be a legal adult.
I think kids need mentoring.
18 is very young. All right? 18 is very young.
That's how I see it. I mean, adults too need mentoring, but I think kids need that extra help and that extra push. I've seen many kids who have been forced to be older or act older as they are to mature faster. That's why I went for agree.
I want to move.
You want to move? Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I
Talk
didn't
us
know if I
through.
could.
What are you thinking?
Well, I agree. I feel like there's just so many decisions, especially
What do you guys
in
think,
high
chat?
school that we have
Nah,
to
they're still
make
kids. Once you are
that
fully
are
responsible for
not,
your
like,
actions,
kid-like.
say your
They
parents taking the
expect us to
blame.
act a certain
18
way.
is young,
Also, like,
yeah.
the fact that we're even able to drive, how should we still be considered a kid?
Do you mind if I move? Yeah.
You guys are kids because you're indecisive. You can't stick with your decisions. Look at this, for example. You're easily persuaded.
I
And you
moved
weren't-
because I feel like, especially at that 16 to 18 age, you're constantly planning for your future where it's actually difficult to live in your childhood.
It's okay to be a kid. Be a kid when you still can. Be a fucking kid. Be a fucking kid. It's not cool to get older. It's not. It's not. Your back hurts. Your knees hurt. Your stomach gets bigger. The hangovers hurt. I was so naive. can pay for your own car insurance, girl. You tell him, chat. Tell him, AT. Tell him. Tell him. You lose your hair. You know. All right.
It's just
Let's listen. Let's
kinda
listen.
you're
Let's
unable
be
to
respectful
live
here.
as a child. So it's like, how can you consider yourself one when you're constantly planning for your adult life and future?
When I was a freshman, all the teachers around
When I was a freshman, so okay, I gotta stop. Let me let me chill out. Let me chill out. Let me chill out. Let me chill out for that.
me always told me that I needed to prepare for my future. And I feel like, especially coming after online school and quarantine, I'm still living in that middle schooler mindset. I'm still basically like a kid living.
Dude, my school thought I was so dumb. I had 2 English classes. Basically, I was in special ed. You know what I'm saying? They gave me 2 English classes. The reason why I failed the class because I didn't have money for the books. You know what I mean? I didn't have money for the books, and I never asked money for the books, so I just failed. I just failed.
And preparing for my future, which I'm clearly not ready for.
I feel like kid is kind of a weird word. So like it's just kid and adult. And I feel like in high school I kind of want to be thought of as a kid because it's kind of like, oh, he's a kid, right? It's like
Yeah, see,
like an excuse.
this guy knows what I'm talking
You're
about.
allowed to mess up.
Yeah.
I really can't like look at my classes full of 18-year-olds and say these are
Yeah.
adults. Like I feel like now it's later and later.
Yeah, yeah,
turning into
before-
adults. I don't feel like we turn in. I mean, of course,
It was cheap,
people
but
that have to
still, yeah.
pay bills at 16. But to say a high schooler is an adult, I feel like I like to know that I can grow so much more from now. Like,
You
I
see?
did that when I was a kid.
This guy
not,
has-
you know,
see this guy-
as an adult.
I agree with this guy, that kid.
Today's high schoolers
I agree with that
have it
kid because he
harder
sees himself
than
as a kid.
previous generations.
Wait, what? Today, high schoolers have it harder than previous generation. I bet you. Okay, let's have a vote. They're gonna say yes. They have it harder. Yes. Census. I think the census is gonna say they're gonna have it harder. Majority. I might be wrong, but let's see.
3, 2, 1, go.
Whoa! Today's high schoolers have it harder than previous generation. Okay. So dude, I like this guy. I like the guy with the yellow t-shirt, man. Maybe with TikTok and Instagram, bro. They have. Okay, let me just go. Let me go on a rant. They had. What did we have? We just got the internet right around that time. I mean, like around like middle, like kindergarten, but like, you know what I mean. YouTube wasn't as popping as it was back then. Google wasn't as popping back then. Some people didn't even have computers or phones. And like they can get so much information now compared to before. Like before, we would ask a question, but then we would just ponder on like off of each other's ideas and brain cells. Like we would just think about it and like analyze, just have theories of the question. Instead, now you can just boom instantly. Hey Google, what's this? What's that? Boom, 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 boom. So it's pretty interesting to see this. I mean, let's hear them out. Zango, MySpace is like Zango was the shit. Neopets, Maple Story. I don't know if you guys used to play those games, but those was the chat. What was it chat about? Chat GBT. What's GBT? Okay, anyway, let's see what they say. Chat GBT. What is that?
I feel like now, our generation, we have more resources
Mm-hmm. I agree with
for
her.
help that we need.
Mhm.
You know, and way back then, like mental health, that was like they would put you straight to camp or like some conversion stuff like that. But I feel like now there's just more resources. We have the internet, we have the media. Like, would you have wanted to send a pigeon to your friend instead of
Whoa.
texting your friend? Like, stuff like that. Like, would you want to have, we just have it easier now.
I feel like it's an in-between thing because
We
I
had
feel like
Messenger.
social situations now are much better, but back then they were much worse. I feel like there was racism, teachers could beat their own kids, and I feel like now there's so much things that we cannot do, and I feel like it's for the better.
Can I move?
Wait, what?
Much worse.
Today's high schoolers have it harder than previous generation. Somewhat agree. And what is he saying? Racism and teachers beating up kids?
I feel like there was racism, teachers could beat their own kids, and I feel like now there's so much things that we cannot do, and I feel like it's for the better.
Can I move?
So wait, what is he saying?
When I think about this question, I kind of like went to bullying and how much easier it is to get bullied nowadays, especially on social media, because it's so easy
No, wait, what? Okay, let's just
to
hear
hide
out.
behind a screen. People say worse things, and I think that mental health, maybe it was just as bad back in the day, but because of social media, it's become more prominent and we see it everywhere. Another thing that I also thought about was you guys say that we have more resources, but don't you, well, you don't have to agree, but I feel that the resources have kind of made us a little less smart. Because we're able to look up that, like, the answers to our test, or like, I don't know, everything's just so much more accessible that I'm not really learning as much as like my mom and dad did. So I kind of am like sad that all our resources are so much more accessible.
Yeah, I know some dumb, people they're like, is it hot outside? And then they'll go to their phone and check the weather. Like, just go outside,
I feel like school right
Bro,
now
people
is
bully
so
on Pokemon
easy
Unite as
for our
well.
generation.
Bro, we just
Like,
get
it's
bullied in
so
fucking
incredibly
in front of
easy.
everyone, bro.
Like,
It's
especially
so
now that I'm in
bad.
senior year. I mean, I'm not taking incredibly hard classes.
Yo,
but
back in elementary school, man, I used to skateboard, right? But I wasn't like part of the cool kids and whatnot. And like all the cool kids in elementary school, they would be like, I used to have shugu on my shoe, which is like, glue to repair the shoe. And they would be like, they'll look at my shoes, man, you don't skate, get out of here, poser. Get out of here, poser. I'm like, bro, and it's like 5 against 1, so I can't really say much back. So it's like, fuck out of here. Dude, on the internet, like, if people bully you, you don't even have to fucking, like, listen to it. You know what I mean? Like, you can just zone it out. They're all trolls.
they don't even give you homework because they
Bro,
know
so we're
you
twice
won't
their
do it.
age. Oh, yeah, you're
Like,
right.
It's like they would
You're
rather
right.
have you
You're
pass
right.
than like teach you something. And like the amount of kids that held back is like nothing. Like it's just, oh, keep going ahead, go ahead, go ahead. And so like seeing like classes
very
from,
interesting
like,
to see the
older
dynamics, though.
generations, it seems like, oh, they're like learning, there's more respect to the teachers. Now like there's like such little discipline that every class is just like a muck.
I feel like just because things are easier does not mean it's better. My friend goes to college in San Diego, and there's literally a group chat for people in a nursing major just to cheat on the work. And if we're having nurses that don't even know how to like give you medicine, stuff like that, it's
Whoa.
scary.
I did want to hit on
What are we doing here, chat? What is he saying? He's saying that no one cheated before or something? Oh, yeah, bully back then was in your face. It was. But what are we doing here? This is like, what? Who didn't cheat?
how the pandemic impacted you guys.
Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
think it
interesting.
did impact our generation. I know personally, I was always so great at talking growing up, and then going into coronavirus, not really like talking to my friends a bunch, and like being kind of like
That's true.
antisocial and to myself. Coming out and having to talk to adults was like terrifying. I didn't want to do it at all. I couldn't even talk to like my peers.
When I went back to school, I felt like I was still
Yeah,
in
that's
8th
true.
grade in middle school. So it was very hard for me to adjust. And this was definitely like the biggest
It's very interesting. Yeah,
change
coronavirus
that
has affected a
our
lot of people, though.
generation, if you think
I'm not
about
gonna
it.
lie.
You know, we didn't deal with the bubonic plague or a big, you know, stuff like that. Like this was the biggest impact. And I remember going back to school, I was so
We dealt with
anxious.
Y2K,
I would
9/11.
take
What else did we
half a
deal with?
Xanax, you know, almost every morning because it was so bad.
There was this day where we could finally take off
Xanax?
our mask, and it was so weird seeing everyone.
People
But I
still
never
cheat
knew
at
what to
work,
do with my
yeah.
face. It was just crazy.
I feel ready to explore my sexuality. 3, 2,
Oh, it's gonna be interesting.
go.
I don't know what that means. What is like dating and stuff?
I knew I was gay at a very young age. So I've kind of always been ready or kind of always known. Like I was over here at like 6 years old, like looking at a TV screen and there's like a boy and I was like, he's cute. Like, I was like, yeah, I already knew. So like,
Okay,
I
that
feel
makes
like
sense.
it just depends what you determine what exploring your sexuality is. Cause at least in my book, I feel like I've already labeled it and I'm already confident and happy with who I am.
Good for you, man.
Now it's very normal to explore yourself. And I think even just like having sex, it's very, very naive for any adult or anyone to ignore the fact that like people are gonna do that. Like it's or people around you are gonna do that. They're gonna talk about it or you're gonna see it on TV and with the internet, like we have access to everything these days. No one is judged like for waiting or wanting to try stuff as long as everyone's being safe As long as it's consensual, as long as you're okay, there's nothing wrong with it.
You know damn well there's rape that went on in these high schools. You know damn well there was rape.
I also grew up
Sad
in a
to say.
very private Christian
part of the world, though.
school. It was very like it was like a bubble, you know, and we didn't talk about all that stuff. But now I attend a high school.
It's good that they're
where
more
we
open
actually
now
have
in this
wellness
generation,
classes.
I
Also,
think.
social media helps. Those random accounts on my For You page, they're like, how to kiss a boy or something like that. I don't even know.
What is it, WikiHow?
WikiHow, sure. Like, there's just so many courses, you know. That's why you got to seek them out and find a support system.
It's kind of like for our whole generation happening earlier and earlier, like where we get introduced to it with like the internet and stuff. I kind of like it to be delayed. I kind of like to be a kid for as long as I can.
But do you feel like people don't take you seriously if you continue to, act younger and like want to be younger?
In the sense of like this question, like sexuality, like I feel like I'd rather, because right now it's like most of the pressure is just like, oh, I feel like I'm so behind because I haven't done this, and this yet, when it should be so normal.
It's important that we do educate ourselves on these topics, because once we're older, if we aren't, that could take a turn for the worse.
Like what?
I feel like approaching it naturally or in a professional way, like in terms of like school, if they're providing.
Would you rather have to deal with your kid with safe sex or drugs? Don't matter, either or. I mean, they should have a discussion for sex and drugs. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's what I think. Like, I don't think either or comes first. I think, people are gonna be people. What is the right way? There is no right way. As long as you nature versus nurturing. If you nurture, if you're nurtured to your kids, I think as long as they have the discussion and knows the dangers of it, and they're safe about it, and where they can have enough trust where they can call you if they are fucked up. You know what I mean? But if it's like hard drugs, then I'm gonna have to shut that down real quick. You know what I'm saying? Real quick. Sex, as long as they're being safe with it. You know what I mean? Not knocking up. If they're just knocking up girls, or the girls getting knocked up, daughters getting knocked up, then man, like what the fuck, man? What the fuck?
Like health classes. I think that's just the
What
best
about
way
you,
to
chat?
go about it. And I completely agree with you. Like I was also exposed to nasty on the internet, and like no one wants to go through that.
I don't think that the school should do it because I think it's really weird. I can never
Sex ed?
stop laughing personally. Like when I'm in a sixth grader and they say the word scrotum, how are you not supposed to like laugh?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's more of a personal endeavor, but I guess not everyone's as smart as me. But I feel like personally, I'd just like to find that out on my own and maybe be encouraged by the school. But I don't like the classroom. Let's learn about sex all sitting together as a bunch of teenagers. Like that's awful. That's like the
Horny
worst thing ever.
teenagers.
I feel safe at school. 3, 2, 1.
Why do you think he's uncomfortable being in a classroom learning about sex? Is it because it's like a weird, intimate like thing? Interesting.
Oh.
Maybe he's not ready. Wait, what was it? I feel safe at school.
My campus security are amazing.
Wait, why does she not feel safe? Honestly,
They have a personal relationship
it's fine,
with all
yeah.
the students. I've had bomb threats at my school.
Oh.
I've had like shootings literally walking distance down the street where the school had to go on lockdown. It's unfortunate, but also like it just makes me really aware. Like for every classroom, I have what's my hide plan? Who are my people? I don't feel comfortable putting my phone in the phone chart because if something happens, I want to text my family. And that's why COVID like lifted a lot of weight off my shoulders because I didn't have to worry about that all the time. Also, like a lot of people at my school who have mental health struggles. I'm always afraid that like someone won't be properly
I'm
trained
not
for that and they'll just
afraid
snap one day.
to
know?
take a stand.
My school has had multiple sexual assault scandals. Like my history teacher right now, my world history teacher, if it weren't for the current sub, it would be with basically a pedophile.
Wait, what?
So it's scary. And when she mentioned like the bomb, I remember last year someone created an account with our school name, and it was
Oh, okay, wait. You know what's crazy right now? Of how many female teachers are raping kids or teenagers. You guys see that a lot? You guys see that? Like it was like a lot of female teachers right? They're having sex with all the students, or not all the students, but some of the students, which is very interesting. Like, they don't get as much flack as the male students, of course, but still, yeah, like, it's crazy though, right? It's kind of crazy.
Like shooting or something on this day, and our school ended up canceling school for that day, and it was horrible.
I feel so fortunate to have grown up in a really privileged area where there's not a lot of violence. However, I feel like I'd be ignorant to say that a school shooting would never happen, because all it takes is one kid out of the 2,500 students that I have to take a gun to school and shoot people. And I feel like there's so many different openings on my campus where that could happen.
We have gates, but it honestly looks like a prison.
Okay, yeah, that's me
I
too.
won't lie. We have security guards. They're not armed, which was a conversation that came up. Should our security guards be armed? And another conversation came up, should our teachers be armed? There's just topics like that. I remember this was actually recently, one of the old students at the college threatened to shoot up the whole school. And so even we had to go remote. So it's just like, never feel safe.
My social media presence is important to me. 3.
If we grab enough loot, we can make our way to Polar Plaza.
Jesus Christ, my ears.
I don't particularly post, like maybe just my story, but like I'm not like constantly posting. And if you do, that's perfectly fine. Like that's a lot of people's outlets, and especially creativity.
I don't own a single social media, and like not as like a flex. I'm just saying like I hate the presence of an app in my mind. Like, oh, you should do this. Like it's an app on my phone. Like I don't want to give it any part of my life. So I'd just rather not have it.
I think sometimes with social media
too
nowadays,
cool.
it also
Too
can
cool
fall
for
into
you,
career,
bro.
which is really weird, but that's like what I do. It's like, oh, I can't post that
Yeah, man. What do you think? Keep watching your stream, yeah, man.
picture of me like flipping
Appreciate
off the camera with my
it.
friends, 'cause,
Get
like,
them
a
rest, man.
college
Have a good day at
or
work tomorrow,
a
man.
future boss, because your digital footprint is so real. But I also I love having social media. Like I've had it for years.
Okay.
I've always tried to ground myself and realize that it's just for fun. It's not that serious.
There are some people who I know who have shown or done some really crazy stuff, and it's spread everywhere. Like there's some things I do not need to know, and people just tell me. Like on Instagram, there's close friends, and there's normal story, and I post on close friends so much more than I do on my normal story.
Or a spam account.
Yeah,
I post on my spam account way
Spam
more.
account.
A couple years ago, I would have been right
I
there.
think the girls
I
are more
strongly
effective with social
agree.
media.
Because when I moved to the new school, a lot of people were like, oh, how many followers do you have? If you had over 1,000, it's like, yo, you got clout. Like, you're good. Digital footprint, that is no joke. Like, everything you post will come back at you. I'm so glad Instagram took off that feature where you could see what other people liked. Do y'all remember that? That was ridiculous.
That's why I'm very aware of what I post. I make sure this is what I want everyone to see.
And when
me
you're,
as.
I'm so sorry. When you're a kid, you want social media. When you first find out about it, when I was 9 years
Social
old, I was
media.
begging my mom to let me have Instagram. And now, I'm even embarrassed of the little selfies I would post because they're so stupid. So, looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I would totally never let my 7-year-old on social media, things like that. But I actually did have social media very young.
Yeah, me too.
I got Twitter when I was.
I remember
6.
when I first made
My
Instagram.
mom made it and managed it,
Man,
but I would still I
used
would
to have-
tweet about my little kindergarten.
I used to have 1,000 followers
You,
in
having your
my
mom,
first
to,
Instagram. Now this is my fourth or fifth Instagram account. I only have 200 now.
Unfortunately.
200 followers now.
I feel like it just depends.
Now I can't
your
be people
digital
that's nice.
footprint
Yeah, it was
can be
bad. You
much
could
more
stalk
harmful,
your
when you
fucking
don't have parents
exes
that
and your
know how to
lovers
handle
and-
social media or know how to prevent
Why'd you like
it,
that photo?
'cause
Why'd you like that
my
photo?
parents, they've never used social media. They don't have a single account. So growing up, begging, I don't think they knew the harmfulness of it. And I don't blame them for that at all, but I feel like that's what led to me being exposed to a lot of stuff. So I feel like definitely with the new generation, and if, I don't know if I'll have kids, but if I do, they're not on social media, at least for me.
When those iPad kids, those kids who use iPads, it's
My
so
sister's an iPad kid.
addicting. It's so addicting, and you need parental controls because social media is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, or having your parents run the account, regardless. It's just that's so important.
Or even having
Wait, what?
influencers like Andrew Tate who are like influencing these like little like boys to think that that mentality is like normal.
Yeah.
I feel like social media has drastically altered my personality, especially during COVID. And I feel like if it could change me that much, just imagine a 6-year-old having access to a phone for their basically entire childhood. But like honestly, I got so sensitive to being in front of camera that I feel like I kind of forgot about digital footprint and stuff like that.
I have hope for the future. 3, 2, 1.
I guess we can't be hypocrites. 5-year-olds with iPads, Game Boys at age 5. Yeah, what Game Boys did we had?
I don't know, man.
Yo, those are the
Seeing
best.
An iPad kid, I'm like, wow, what job is he gonna have?
What was this? I have hope for the future. But yeah, I remember playing Tetris. That was like the first like actual game I remember playing on Game Boy.
You know,
The sounds
he
are
knows
good.
more about like scrolling to the next video than like anything that like will help him get a job. I don't know. I don't feel like I have very much hope for our and the next generation.
I don't know. I feel like the generation now are like
keep
advancing
getting,
so
the younger generation
like sports, like they're getting better at everything. Sports, social media, gaming, and I mean just like everything. Like, but at the same time, they don't know how to appreciate it. Like appreciate the art, the work. Like it's always the next high, next high, next high, next high. And maybe that's what's leading to like high anxiety, high ADHD, high ADD. You have to go back to they need to like go on a trip to go back like to a simple life, living in the forest or something for like a month or something. Maybe then you know all those problems will go away. Because I was listening to an interview with David Choi. He lived in Africa, and all of his depression and anxiety went away because he just had to survive there. You know, it was a good interview.
getting like profited on and like abused almost.
When I heard this question, I kind of thought about like social justice and like the issues that we're experiencing right now.
I don't know, man. I feel like people are becoming so woke that they're becoming dumb at the same time. You get what I'm saying? Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Like there can be a change. And I just
Hierarchy
really
of
don't
needs.
think that people back in the day were seeing that type of change. Everything was just thrown kind of under the rug.
Is that a reference, AT? Sorry, man. I'm not catching it.
Not really spoken
Is that
about.
Russia?
I still love to dream like, oh, I would love to achieve this one day, but even if I don't have that financial capability, I still have hope. I hope I could get there one day. And I still try to
hierarchy of
remain
needs. That makes it
positive.
okay.
Everyone's goal at the end of the day is just to be happy in what they're
After he
doing
went to
and
Africa.
make a difference in either your own or someone's life. And I think
Some
like,
people go
just by
crazy
having
there.
This discussion, like there's so much hope for everyone in here to go on and be successful in that, no matter what it is. So I have a lot of hope for the future, and I'm really.
I think when the British, French, and like part of Europe went to Africa, they're in the woods and like they went crazy. They went crazy in the forest because you could do anything there. You could rape women. You could kill people. So like people went crazy, lost their sanity in the forest. You said he reprioritized his needs to survive. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he did. And then he, all of the ADHD, ADD, anxiety, it went away. Because he prioritized his needs to survive. Yeah.
really excited, even though I'm
So it's kind of like
nervous
a humbling, like bringing you down self to earth,
and I'm anxious about
Literally.
I'm really excited to see like in my personal life like what that means for me, because I know I'm never gonna stop until I'm happy with what I'm doing.
I mean, I feel
See?
really grateful for our generation.
chasing the
because a lot
high.
of us are very open-minded to having these types of conversations, whether or not it relates to us or exists in our nature. But I feel like people are so open to change now, and I feel like that's just great moving forward. And I feel like a lot of us Gen Z people have gone through such traumatic and bad experiences that we're gonna become amazing parents one day.
Like, I think I remember, like, during quarantine, there was, like, a sign in New York that said we had, like, this many years left and before our world, like, ends or something. And my sister is an
Y2K.
iPad kid, and I've seen how she is. And it's like, I want to say I have hope for the future, but just based off what I'm seeing, it feels like there's no change, kind of.
Interesting video. Good video. Should we watch one more?